Good morning and Joy Jagannath. I'm hoping you are all right. You are studying good and giving your everything for your upcoming examination. From today onwards, we'll start a new series of where we are going to discuss different topics. Especially, I'm going to discuss the ethics topic. Okay. The question which I have asked in the ethics examination, I am going to discuss one by one. Okay. What we'll do, we'll have one question, we'll discuss about that question and why I have framed that question because all questions were created by me. ठीक है जी? So we'll discuss these things. That's the first thing. And anything which is connected with that topic we'll discuss so that your entire topic will be covered within that question. Okay, so we'll go through this question. This is the first question where it is saying nahi gyaneno nahi gyanena sadrisham. Okay, nahi gyanena sadrisham pavitra miha vidyate. Okay, tattoyam, it is tattoyam yoga sanasiddhiha samasiddhiha kale atmiya bindati. Okay, so this is the Bhagavad Gita sloka which we have taken from Bhagavad Gita directly. So it is saying knowledge is the most purifying forces in the human life. Okay, so this is directly taken from Bhagavad Gita, and we have created one question around it. Okay, so first thing is that we go through this question and try to understand what is the demand of the question and how we should attempt the same type of question in the examination, and any topic which is pertaining to this part which comes under ethics part we'll discuss. Okay, this verse suggests that the self-realization is a gradual process, yes, achieved through knowledge, yes, discipline, patience, inner reflection, right? Various thinkers and philosophers have defined education from different perspective, yes. So this question is talking about Bhagavad Gita sloka. At the same time, it is saying that different philosophers have a different perspective related to knowledge, regarding knowledge. Okay, so we need to understand that how it is different from the different perspective, different the education. The meaning of education is different from different philosopher point of view. Okay, discuss the philosophical views on education which is propounded by the great leaders and thinkers. Do you believe that knowledge is alone is sufficient for attaining self-realization? Substantiate your answer. Okay, this is the first question what I had given. So this is a question where I always think that knowledge is not enough to solve everything. Knowledge should be backed by something. What we are used to say, it is called value education. Okay, value education. But value education is sufficient enough to reach to a level where we can self-actualize or self-realize. That's part we are going to discuss in this question. Okay. So first of all, we'll discuss what is knowledge. What is knowledge? So knowledge is always considered as the purest form. Purest form. And knowledge means wisdom of. Actually, it is saying that knowledge means intelligence. We are saying, but it is not actually right. Knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence are different things and different concept altogether. Go and search them, find the nuances that is present between knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence. Okay. So first thing is knowledge is something which is, I'll write knowledge means wisdom of good and bad, good or bad. Hala, wisdom of good or bad, or good and bad, whatever it's like. So it is also known as ethics. When we are thinking that ethics is a situation, ethics is a process, ethics is a principle, ethics is a process, but the value system where we can distinguish a good thing and bad thing. That is so knowledge gives us that edge where we can divide or distinguish between what is good and what is bad. Okay, so and always it is said that knowledge is most powerful tool for purifying oneself. When one try to purify oneself, when one try to purify, okay, purify oneself, it is the most powerful tool. So knowledge is most powerful tool to purify, powerful tool to purify oneself. Okay, so it is through knowledge we can overcome ignorance and attain enlightenment. Mostly it is said that it is through knowledge we can overcome but ignorance, and we can achieve enlightenment. So knowledge is the potent tool which help us to guide us. It is the tool which help us to find the right way. So educated person is not just someone who knew a lot of facts, but someone who knows that what is right, what is wrong. Value education where ethics and moral compass will be developed. So I'll write. So value education, the extensive, the most important part of education, that is value education, where that is called the ethical and moral compass will be developed. Will be developed. It is very important. So we can distinguish between right and wrong. Distinguish between right and wrong. That is the basic thing. Right and wrong. Okay. So now we'll talk about, it is the basic definition of knowledge. Okay, so different, next question, this question is asking that different philosophical views on education is different, and try to discuss all these things, so how they are different. Okay, first I'll start how you have to attempt this question. So different leaders perspective. Okay, leaders perspective, different leader perspective. You can write leaders, you can write philosophers, whatever you can write it. Okay, different philosophers perspective you can write. Okay, perspective. So I'll start with Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is saying, Mahatma Gandhi had said that, Mahatma Gandhi Mahatma Gandhi had said that knowledge without character is the greatest sin. It is knowledge without character. It is knowledge without character is the greatest sin. Okay. So one, it is one of the seven sin. It is one of the seven sins. One of the seven sin. So Mahatma Gandhi perspective is that always you try to bring the character aspect, or the improve or change your character with respect to knowledge, so that you will be a good person, you will be ideal person. Okay, so knowledge is not the one component, character is another component which needs to be developed. Okay, you need to understand that. That is the first thing. Another thing is that Mahatma Gandhi always says that you need to purify your thought process, so that your body, mind, and soul will be in harmony. Okay, how you are going to purify your thought process? By acquiring knowledge. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, you need to purify your thought process. करोगे तो करोगे कैसे? The process is thought process. How? The now question come, how you can purify your thought process? By acquiring knowledge. That's why knowledge is important. Okay, acquiring knowledge. But what about acquiring knowledge? After acquiring knowledge, by purifying your thought process, what will happen? Your body, mind, and soul will be in harmony. Okay, your body, your mind, your soul will be in harmony. Will be in harmony. That is the major thing, the major reason why we need to purify our thought. How? By acquiring knowledge. Okay. So this is the one thing, acquiring knowledge. Another thing is that knowledge without character. We need character. We need that personality traits that will help us to achieve actual self-realization, that will help us to give us that will help us to reach another level. That is the perspective of Mahatma Gandhi. What about another perspective, Vivekananda? Second हम देखेंगे विवेकानंद, विवेकानंद, Vivekananda. Okay. According to Vivekananda, education is the manifestation of perfection already present in man. So education is something which 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 manifests something. So it is the manifestation of, manifestation of perfection, which is already present in the man, already which is already present in a man or inside a man. ঠিক আছে? So uh, uh, at the same time, Vivekananda also focused on character building to increase the self confidence. So according to Vivekananda, when if you have a good character, then your self confidence will increase. So Vivekananda also focused on character building. Character building. As a result, your self confidence will be at another level. At another level. Okay. So these are the two perspectives of Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, everybody is talking about education and different perspective they have given. Okay, next perspective we are talking about Socrates. Okay, according to Socrates, he just distinguished between good and evil. He said that good knowledge is one is good part, one is evil part. So knowledge is the good part, and which ignorance is the evil part. So he distinguished directly. He divided into two parts. It is good and it is evil. So good is that is acquiring knowledge. That is acquiring knowledge or knowledge. Knowledge. Evil is ignorance. Evil is the ignorance. Okay. So, whatever he had said, it is a plain definition. If you are a good person, then you should have adequate knowledge. If you are not a good person, then you are ignorant about different matters. Okay. But what about Einstein? Now another perspective. Einstein talked about different perspectives of knowledge. He said that imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is right, all right, it is one aspect, but what about imagination? You need imagination. So imagination is more important than knowledge. So according to him, imagination is more important than knowledge. More important than knowledge. Very, 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 very important. Okay. And another thing is that he believed that education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in his school or in her school. ঠিক আছে? It's so education is something which is present with you, within you after you come out from the schools. So it is like whatever we are learning from the school, that is not the education. Whatever we are learning, whatever we are learning in our schools, that is not learning. Schools, that is not learning. According to him, that is not learning. Then what is learning? He's saying that he was saying that learning is something which is present. Learning is something which is present after we have came out from the school. So that is a different aspect. That is a different aspect altogether, and it is quite different from other perspective. Okay, but what about Buddha? Buddha said that doubt everything. You need to doubt everything and find your own light. Actual knowledge need to be searched. So if somebody is saying one thing, if I am saying these things, you should not blindly believe all these things. You should doubt everything, so that you can find your own light. At the same times, as a result, actual knowledge you will get it, and actual knowledge always need to be searched. That is the most beautiful thing which is said by Buddha. So it is the refined version. I'll get into those things. So doubt everything, doubt everything, and find your own knowledge, find your own knowledge. What will happen? That is not on knowledge, it is on light, and it is called as actual knowledge or true knowledge. He believed that true knowledge needs to be searched, needs to be searched. Okay, needs to be searched. Okay. What about Aristotle? Aristotle said that educating the minds without educating the heart is no education at all. You can use it. So you need to educate the mind, at the same time you need to educate the heart of human being. So what is the perspective of Aristotle? You need to educate the mind. You need to educate the mind. You need to educate the mind. At the same time, you need to educate at the same time, at the same time, you need to educate your heart. What do you mean by educate the heart? Means you realize the same thing by letter and spirit. I will give some example. Recently, what happened? Um, one PG doctor from UP both were involved in bomb blasting, which was happened in Delhi. So yes, they have the knowledge, they have educated their mind, but they haven't educated their hearts. Okay, so what will happen? You need to realize that they have taken the Hippocratic that is called Hippocratic oath, but they haven't realized by heart. So educating something is not sufficient enough to give right kind of people. You need to be educating the mind, at the same time educating the hearts. Okay. So that's why moral education is needed. That's why value education is needed. Okay. What about Martin Luther King Jr.? Martin Luther King Jr. had said that we have guided missile but misguided man. So morality is needed. According to him, morality, ethical values, those things should be indoctrinated, and these are needed. Education is one part, but moral values, ethical values should be indoctrinated. Okay. Martin Luther King Jr. has said that we have guided missiles and misguided man. So this is one perspective. So you have to write this way. You have to write in this way so that you can justify this answer. So Martin Luther King Jr. So what is this perspective? This perspective is talking about morality is needed. Morality is needed. This perspective is talking about educating the mind, at the same time educating the heart. That means understanding those things by realizing those things by letter and spirit, realizing those things by letter and spirit, by letter and spirit. Okay, by letter and spirit. This is very, very important. Okay. What about Buddha? Buddha is saying that doubt everything. You cannot trust anybody. You need to search your knowledge. You need to find what is reality, what is fake, what is right knowledge, what is true knowledge. So it needs to be searched and doubt everything, find your own light. It is a totally different perspective. What about Einstein? Einstein was saying that imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is most important aspect of knowledge, because when you start to imagine a lot of things, you will try to you will retrospect, you will introspect, you will think different in a different way. At the same times, it will help to guide you. Okay. And what about this? So this is talking about this is talking about refined person. This is talking about refined version of knowledge. This is refined version of knowledge. Okay. So another thing is that we can say it is a counter thought process. It is saying Einstein is saying that is called knowledge is is worth not a copper if we can't imagine something. So it is a counter perspective. Yes, sir, you can write it as a counter perspective. It is a counter perspective. Okay. So, according to Mahatma Gandhi and Vivekananda, we have already discussed. So, the question demands that different perspective, different thought, different philosophers have a different perspective. Is right. So, you have to write in this way. So, Mahatma Gandhi perspective, Vivekananda perspective, Socrates perspective, all these things you have to write in such a manner. Out of the after covering this perspective, I will say another perspective, which is totally different from this philosopher thought process. Right now, we'll talk about Maslow's theory. Okay. Next version. It is Maslow's theory. You can use this in the examination or it is for your knowledge. Okay, Maslow's theory. How to use the Maslow's theory here? What is the reason behind the Maslow's theory? Maslow's theory is saying that this is life is like a pyramid. Life is like a pyramid. When we're satisfying one strata, we are moving to another strata. Okay, moving towards another strata. That is the main concept of Maslow's theory. So physiological needs is present at the bottom. Physiological needs. Okay, physiological needs is physiological needs are present at the bottom. Then which is safety needs. Safety needs after satisfying the physiological needs, we'll try to save our family. We'll try to save our belongings. So next, it is stage two. Stage two belongs to safety need. Okay, safety needs. What about what about stage three? It is about social needs. It is talking about social needs. It is talking about social needs. So it is stage three. It is talking about social needs. What about the fourth stage? Stage four and stage five. It is talking about self-esteem. Self-esteem. It is talking about self-actualization. So one person can move from this part to this part. So to reach the level 5, one must satisfy all these conditions. Stage 1 condition, stage 2 condition, stage 3 condition, stage 4 condition. So if somebody is poor, is belonging from poor family, is destitute, he's fighting for his livelihood, fighting for his or her livelihood. How come it's possible that he can think about self-actualization or self-realization? It is quite impossible. So Maslow's theory is talking about knowledge. नॉलेज के लिए ना पहले ये चारों स्टेज तुमको कवर करना पड़ेगा. चारों स्टेज कवर करने के बाद यू कैन थिंक अबाउट नॉलेज, यू कैन थिंक अबाउट ट्रू नॉलेज. You need to satisfy physiological needs, you need to satisfy safety aspect, you need to satisfy social needs. Then you will think about self esteem. You need to, then you will think about self actualization. Okay, to protect your self esteem, then to reach the self actualization, that is the topmost point. So for a poor family destitute and fighting for his life, they cannot think about self-actualization. They will try to fight for their livelihood. So from last Maslow's point of view, this is a counter perspective. So knowledge and self-actualization. Everybody is saying that. Gita is saying that knowledge is here. According to Gita, knowledge is here, and knowledge will help you to reach the self-actualization. But that is not true. That is not true. How come it is true? According to Maslow's theory, you cannot think about knowledge. You need to satisfy other stages. Forget about self-actualization. Okay. And from different perspective, different thinker perspective, somewhere you need character. Somewhere you need your own path. You have to search for light. Somewhere you need to educate your heart, more compassion, valuation. So by combining everything, you can achieve self-actualization. That this is very, very important. So there is called a theory of health. There is a concept called theory of health. So theory of health is talking about physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. So always remember that physical health present at the lower strata. In the middle strata, the mental health is present. The spiritual health is present at the higher strata. So always remember that spiritual health is given the highest preference. So this is physical health, physical health. This is mental health. This is spiritual health. So when you can provide some spiritual guidance at that time, you can you will understand that it is the highest form of help you can provide to a person. So how can you can how you will help that person in spirituality and spiritual thought in a spirit in a situation where you can help him or that person in a spiritual way. So by talking about self actualization, first thing is that पहले तुमको self actualize होना चाहिए. You should know the true knowledge. Then you can help that person in a spiritual manner, in a spiritual way. अब सब सदगुरु के बारे में बोलते हैं, तो उनको पता है what is self actualization, what is true knowledge. That's why he is talking about inner engineering. That why he is talking about different thing. Sadhu, Rusi, Muni, they are talking like that. Okay, so this is question is totally different. You will not find this type of question in any institution. This is my own creation. So I have given this question because you need to understand the difference nuances of value education. You cannot say that education is sufficient enough. Okay, because on one aspect we are saying that education is helping in rational thinking. You can write, yes, it is improving our rational thinking, our progressive thinking, our reflexive thinking. You can write it. Progressive thinking and reflexive thinking. But what about self-actualization? For that, you need to introspect and retrospect. You need to introspect and retrospect. Okay. So these are important things. So you need to understand that as well. These are the part of value education which is needed. So right now I'll discuss something about some parts which is related to value education from from an examination point of view and for your knowledge. This is what we have discussed. It is we have discussed everything about this question. Okay, so you can write it in this way. That is called different perspective, different thought process. So education is not alone to satisfy all these things. These all these ingredients are needed to reach the self actualization or self realization point. So, what is value education? Value education always help in developing moral and ethical values. That is one point is developing. Now we are talking about जो पार्ट तुम्हारा सिलेबस में उसमें क्या क्या जाता है. So developing moral and ethical values. एग्जाम्पल तुम दे सकते हो, किसी का भी दे सकते हो यार, बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल है. आर्मस्ट्रांग पामे के बारे में दे सकते हो. इट इज क्वाइट कॉमन, बट यू कैन गिव अनदर क्वेश्चन. मैं एग्जांपल्स के ऊपर एक वीडियो बनाऊंगा. आई विल हैव ए वीडियो टोटली डेडिकेटेड टू एग्जांपल्स. सिविल सर्पेंट है, जो दूसरे भी है, उस सबके लिए एग्जांपल्स बनाएंगे. ठीक है. So Amsterdam Pema, what he had done, he had used the platform like Facebook. So you can use this examples in social media. That is how it is benefiting us. Facebook to क्या रेस फंड, जिसमें 100 किलोमीटर रोड he had made in Manipur. Okay, ठीक है. Second thing is that what will happen, it will promote responsibility, promote accountability. So promoting a responsible citizen. So what will happen, it is promoting a responsible citizen. What do you mean by responsible citizen? So what, so, जैसे कि responsible citizen में क्या क्या हो सकता है, जैसे तुम हो saving water, very small thing, saving water. Yes, is a responsible person. Single use plastic, no to single use plastic, no to single use plastic. Okay. Environmental concern, thinking about sustainable development, global climate change, good Samaritan, where you are saving one life. ठीक है. तो ये वाला पार्ट तुम्हारा हो गया promoting responsible citizen. ठीक है. Building character and resilience. Another part is what value education gives. It creates, it builds character and resilience. building a character is one part and building resilience is another part. Character building to part है process है, but what about resilience? It requires time. It needs time. And value education, what happens now with the passage of time, you understand a lot of things, you learn a lot of things. So your resilience, you'll be more resilient towards other aspect. You'll be tolerant towards other aspect. It creates different character and it always improve your characters. Okay, so building character and building resilience, इसका बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल है जैसे लीडर्स है, जैसे कि टाटा ग्रुप, दे डोंट इंडल्ज इन ग्रीन वॉशिंग. ओके, many of the articles is talking about greenwashing, but some of the leaders, you can write it, they have a different. Tata is investing huge amount of time, huge amount of money in cancer patient, protecting cancer patient, you can write it. So जैसे कि greenwashing, the with 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 a leader who have indoctrinate good value system, who has gone through value education, always avoid those type of things. They don't believe in profit. They don't believe in on- only profit. They believe in providing some return to the society. Okay, creating a more peaceful and harmonious world. Yes, you can write it. Creating a more peaceful and harmonious world. बहुत सारा पॉइंट हो सकता है, मैं इंपॉर्टेंट इंपॉर्टेंट कुछ पर्सपेक्टिव लिख रहा हूँ. ठीक है, जैसे कि न्यूक्लियर साइंटिस्ट हार्नेस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी फॉर सिविल पर्पसेस, दे कुड हैव यूज्ड फॉर डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव, डिफरेंट थिंग. ठीक है, बम बनाने के लिए तो बनाए चुके हैं और कुछ बनाने के लिए. ठीक है, सो हार्नेस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी, यू कैन राइट इज हार्नेस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी, हार्नेस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी फॉर सिविल purposes. So these are different aspects. So these are the most important aspect of value education, for which you need to inculcate value education. Value education means inculcating values, indoctrinate moral thought process, indoctrinate which mold your characteristics, taking inspiration from different authors. So these are the most important point which you can use in your examination. So in this question, we have covered what should be the answer, the way you should have written. That is the first aspect, and we have covered the value education वाला part. थोड़ा थोड़ा cover हो गया, सब कुछ नहीं है. Examples दो जो कुछ points आ रहे हैं उसको लिखो, and you can write these points also in value education. They have different thought process. You can write it, you can compare it, and this type of answer can be useful in your essay part. And due to which I have got 128 in ethics and 130 in essay. Different perspective, different viewpoint. You need to evaluate. You need to think about those things. Okay, comment section में please different perspective. Write it down. Okay, we'll discuss those things, and I will take inspiration from those things. Okay, okay. In the next video, we'll cover a different topic, different aspect of ethics, where we'll talk about different theme. So this is the theme one, that is called value education, and that is called the different thought process of education and self-realization, all these things. Okay, thank you, take care, goodbye, over and out.